Hi there, welcome back to Tabletop Sagas. Brett here, and I know it's been a while since I've been in front of the camera like this, trying out changing up the formula again and shaking some things up a little bit today. But today we are back painting some 10mm Napoleonics. This time we're on to the French, so let's dive right over the painting desk and get started. So here are the miniatures, and these are the French versions of the English that I've already been painting. So they are from Turner Miniatures. You can check them out over on my mini factory. I will stick the link below. And as with the French, as with the English, even these French, absolutely amazing sculpts. They are supposed to be 6mm initially, but they can easily scale all the way up to 15, he claims, and honestly, I can see why. See here, I've got them on these strips, make them a bit easier for painting and a bit easier for ranking up. We have everything from the captains, we've got the drummers on the side, we've got the flank company. I think the only thing I decided to leave off of these was I left off the light company on one of the wings because they would be out in front of the actual models. So to start off with, we're going to be painting, it's French. We're going to be painting blue, and we're going to be painting a fair bit of it. Although I did discover not as much as you might think, just because of how these miniatures are and the scale. They pretty much are just the sleeves and a little bit of the front. So you're kind of just going in, a little bit of blue on the top of the arm, a little bit of two on top, a little bit of blue on the bottom, flip them over, check the back, and jobs are good. And, there's a lot of belts, there's the arms in the way, there's the firearms shouldered. So you really don't actually see as much as you might have thought that you would have. Once we've got them done as well, we're going to get the helmets, we're going to get the backpacks, we're going to get the shoes as well. So everything going to blacked in. This, I just use some nice contrast paint, some black Templar. It's that black with a little bit of blue in it. And I find it is really nice, flows really smoothly, and does work really well on small scale miniatures. You do have to work quickly, and you do have to be smart about it. Just do the hat, then do the backpack, then do the shoes. Don't try and do the front of the mini, then flip it round, then do the back. That way things will start to dry, you'll get coffee marks, staining, and then it will not look as good. Don't worry though, as well, we will have to go in and clean these up. If you do hit anything, particularly the tassely bits on the helmet, do watch out for them as best you can, but we'll go in and clean those back up in a little bit. So with the shakos, the boots, all that sorted out, we're now going to be moving on to the skin. Normally, a lot of people recommend you paint out inside out, and I have on occasion as well. But to be perfectly honest, I do find that there is so little skin showing on these, and it really isn't actually a focus. You just need to give an impression of it. I actually find it's easier to do at this point. And because we're going to be using our normal acrylics here, so just whatever sort of Caucasian skin tone you want to use, I actually find it is better to do this after you've done the hats. Moving on now, hitting some just really quick parts here. We're just going to tidy up the woods. So let's, again, stitch with just a brown, whatever brown you want to use. I don't think anybody really agonizes too much over the correct color for a 1815 French firearm stock. I'm sure there are some people, but I am certainly not one of them. Just use whatever it is that you think looks the best. And then we are going to go in and paint up some, again, increasingly smaller details here. So this is one that I wasn't sure about putting on, then I decided no, do actually need to, and that's the drummers. Why on earth are French drummers green when everything else is blue? I don't know. If anybody knows, please let me know in the comments down below. It was such a weird thing to have discovered partway through painting these. I was like, I feel like there's something wrong. I went to go and reference some images, and I went, oh, they're supposed to be green. So just with these though, go for a nice bright olive green, so something nice and vibrant, but not like luminous and glowing or anything like that. And with that done, we are going to pick out the collars, pick out also the straps on the actual headgear, pick out the the lapels on the shoulder. You will pick out as well at this point. All of that goes in red. I did forget, and I did have to come back in a bit later, but that's okay. There is some touch-up that I do later on here. You will notice, like this. I had the blue out previously when I was doing the jackets, and I completely forgot to do the pom-poms, the feathers, whatever they are on the top of the flank company and some of the commanders' hats. So just go in and pick those out. And then one final little detail I like to put in is I like to put in the bedrolls or the great coats, I think they actually are. So just go in with a sort of neutral grey here, pick those out. They're on the top of the backpacks, and it is just that. It's 3 lines basically, but it is a really nice little detail to add. Then we're going on to the metals. Metals that do obviously do at the end. Always recommend doing it at the end. That way you don't contaminate, you don't get sparkly components in your water, which then goes into other colours and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, just hit all of the metals. It's basically just the brass of the medallions. I wouldn't try and paint buttons or anything at this sort of scale. And then go along and run some silver along those firearms and the bayonets. You really don't have to be too careful with these. And you're pretty much at this point done with painting. Obviously, because we did decide to prime these in white, that does save a lot of work for these Napoleonics, because that's all of their trousers and their belt straps and all that sort of stuff. You could paint them different colours if you wanted them to be a little bit more like they're on campaign, but I was happy enough with they are. And you can see here as well, I am then just going to hit the entire model with a marine juice wash. Mention it all the time, works absolute wonder for this scale. Just get it on there. Doesn't need to be too thick. It will pool really nicely in recesses, but do make sure it doesn't get too heavy. In particular, watch out for between the legs. If you put too much on, it can basically form a skin joining the 2 legs together, and while you won't notice it, it's best to avoid it if you can. And again, you're just really trying to go on these nice and quick. Don't let it sort of start to dry and then be hitting it from the other side. You want to get everything on in one go. And to be fair, you've got a good bit of working time with this formula. You've got nothing really too much to worry. You can actually do sort of 2 or 3 all in one go. And then when you're done, you could do a lot more highlighting, but the only thing I do here is I pick out the white. I do find that the stain does a little bit too much. So I do like to just come in, particularly that left forward leg. I really like to hit that. Also hit the right leg a little bit, but maybe not as much. And then there is that one cross brace. You could try and get the other one or the belt. I personally, though, just did the one, and I found that was enough. And to be honest, on a lot of these miniatures, their arms do block it anyway. And there we have it. So that's the miniatures painted up. Once you get them on their bases, these are on 50mm by 25mm wide. So they do go into a nice 50 by 50 square as well, to kind of represent a little bit of square formation if you do. And I'm really happy with how they came out. You get some Geek Gaming Scenics on there, and I'm just really happy with them. They do look really good like this, and that's a good thing, because I've got a lot more of these to paint. So the one problem with the 1815 campaign is that the French side of things are very, very uniform. It's just going to be this over and over again. Again, as with the English, I am going to do a good amount of these before I put the flags on. I know people will probably be like, where are the flags? All that. I know. I just don't want to be painting, printing out 3 flags on a piece of paper to then have to come in and then print off another 3. I'll just wait until I've got a good chunk of these. I am aiming here to about match what I've got for my English as well. So there is a good, let's say it's like 10 infantry units, or 8 infantry units, a couple of cavalry and some artillery. That'd be a nice start to the army. And honestly, they do paint up really, really quickly. There's always the good thing about 10mm stuff. You can, at this sort of scale, get some absolutely amazing results and really get that rank and file sort of look to your army. So there we have it. What do you think? These, I think, personally came together really nicely. As always, the Turner miniatures, they are just absolutely spot on in terms of quality. They print right onto the print bed. They're quick, they're easy, and some really simple, effective techniques make them look absolutely amazing. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. It would be great to see a bit more support on these videos. It helps out the channel massively. Basically, is the entire reason it just builds up that engagement. It tells YouTube that, yeah, this is the sort of thing that people want to see. So yeah, if that's something that you would be willing to do, consider popping down there and leaving a little comment. While you're down there, why not, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. So as always, thank you very much for watching here at Tabletop Sagas. Do let me know what you think of this new painting tutorial sort of video style as well. It's a new thing I'm playing around with, and I've got a couple more of these already locked and loaded, ready to go. So yeah, I shall see you again soon.